The CZ P10C has been one of those guns for me that is either hit and miss. Now, there's a lot of people out there that swear by these handguns, saying that they're one of the best striker-fired polymer handguns on the market. And, I'd like to be able to say I agree with that. But again, my history with this gun has been sort of checkered. I had 3 of them prior to this. One of them, which was an all-black model, the thing felt like it was going to fall apart as I shot it. And then the 2 FDE models I've had prior to this one also had major failures multiple times. So once I sent them back to CZ and they were repaired, they were sold. But there's a lot of things to be, I guess you could say, liked about the P10. If you look at the grips with their texturing, I think is absolutely perfect. I think it's got a good combination of aggressiveness, but not overly aggressive, so you can definitely carry it. Everything, every little fine detail, from the little finger pad where you want to put your trigger fingers, just as a memory device to be able to make sure that you're constantly putting it there. The takedown levers, which are recessed quite a bit, just very good. The slide finish, excellent. The serrations on the front, just absolutely perfect. And there's been no complaint for that from me. The sights, they're okay. The rear sights were good, but that front orange sight, while not the best, it could be better. It's just a little too small for my liking. Overall, the P10 has been one of those mystery guns for me because it just never seems to work. However, with this one, I feel fairly confident that I may finally have one that I'm going to stick with and be comfortable to carry with me. So let's go to the table and let's check it out. Hey guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So on the table, you see my 4th CZ P10. Now, again, I made a video on this before, and I will put some sort of link or something in the video so you guys can watch that if you haven't. But the first video I did back when I got this initially was I crazy? Was I crazy for getting a 4th P10? And to be honest with you guys, I don't think I'm crazy. I just really like the gun. I'm not going to lie to you and say that this gun is terrible or that this gun is terrific, because it hasn't been either necessarily. But at the same time, the other 2 FDE models I had a lot of issues with them. That's why eventually I sold them. Again, they were repaired by CZ, and then once they came back, they were gone. But with this one, I obviously got it for a good price, $369. That was just an incredible price. So I said, you know what, I'm going to try it again. It's an affordable gun, and I do like the handgun enough to want to try it one more time. So I did take this to the range, and I did put 250 rounds through this. And interestingly enough, and I posted this on Instagram, that I got through 4 rounds in this magazine right here. And what happened was the slide didn't seem to go all the way back. It did eject the round, but then it slammed down on another round in the chamber, so it wasn't going back into battery. So it was sort of kind of like a double feed / not going into battery. So I did clear the failure out of the gun, and then, really 246 rounds later, the gun was flawless. So of course I had to think about what was causing it. And in regards to the failure, I think what was causing it was not necessarily a mechanical problem with this gun, but more of an elongated digit problem. And what I mean by that is, this gun is ergonomically great. There really isn't much for me to complain about when it's in my hand. However, one of the things that I did notice, and again, a lot of times, and I've said this before, I like to ride the gun very high on the slide. And, you can see that, my fingers, especially this one right here, it's resting right on the slide lock, slide release. So what I noticed was, I think I may have been putting too much pressure down on this slide lock. So what happened was, as the gun went back in, or I should say, went back from ejecting the round, because I was holding it, I don't know if it went all the way back, and that was a problem. So as a result, because I was putting too much pressure potentially on the spring, the slide was not all the way back where it needed to be before it came back down on the next round, causing that issue of not going back into battery. And that's what I'm going to speculate was the problem. Now, I could be 100% wrong on that. I'm not sure, guys. But what I would say is that after I adjusted my position of my thumb, which basically what I have to do with this particular handgun is, because it's right here, instead of putting so much pressure downward on it, I have to remind myself to keep my finger right about there, right on the side of it and slightly below it, or take my thumb and kind of rest it on my hand and still just kind of use a vice grip with my support hand on it. And once I did that, guys, the gun was flawless. So what are my overall, impressions of the handgun? Yeah, well, it's a CZ P10C. It shoots incredibly flat. It's just really, really nice in the hand. The stippling on this is very, very good. I have to say that, at first some people may complain that it's a little too aggressive. I don't agree with that. I think it's just perfect. I think what it does is just very good. Now, again, some of the things that I did notice on this P10, it seems like the trigger safety goes in a little bit flatter, but it still has a little bit of a piece sticking out when you depress the trigger completely. Again, the mag releases were fine, no issues with that. And again, no problem dropping the slide by using the slide lock with a full magazine. So to me, that's a big improvement. Now, again, you can see in the back here, and I'll kind of put that to the camera, there is this little divot here, or whatever you want to call it. And apparently somebody was telling me that this is the result of having so many of those issues where I guess the striker pin was rotating, not allowing this slide to go back in the battery. So as a result, they basically channeled out a little channel here that goes all the way through that prohibits or prevents that striker pin from rotating, which is kind of interesting. Now, again, I'm going to take his word for it. Eventually, I'll probably pull it apart to see what's done in there, but it may be why this gun worked flawlessly. And again, it's still too early to tell. A lot of times, I will go around 250 rounds for the first trip, but if I really want to carry it fast, I'll take 500, 600, 700 rounds with me. So at this point, 250 rounds down the pipe, it's only got one failure, which I think was more of my thumb than actually the gun. So I'd have to say, guys, it's pretty cool. I mean, I have to say I'm really happy that I got this. I have no complaints of it just yet, but it's still early to tell. So I'm going to show you some range footage, and of course I'll, talk a little bit over it and explain what you're seeing there. But I mean, overall right now, 250 rounds later, I still think the P10 is a great handgun. I'm really hopeful that this one is going to work fine. So let's go to the range. All right, so in this clip, you can see that I'm showing the gun on the camera, so I know exactly what I'm shooting at that moment. I've already shot some body shots, and right now what I'm doing is I'm following up with those body shots, trying to see if I can get a pretty tight group on them. And I feel fairly confident at this point that the groupings are pretty good. I mean, like I said, the P10 is just a phenomenal, phenomenal shooter. The groups are tight, they're where they need to be, and I'm fairly happy with what I'm seeing here so far. Now, of course, that's after having that one incident. Now, the next film clip here you see, or video clip, whatever you want to call it. Again, at this point, I'm going to now start concentrating on headshots. Now, these are the first 5 headshots I put in there. I wasn't exactly feeling great with these. Again, they're within, where they need to be shot-wise, but I could definitely do better. Got to really focus in on it. And at the end of this, I say trigger control, because I was slapping the crap out of that trigger for sure. In this one, what you're going to see here is just a combination of headshots. You can see the body shots are there already, and the headshots are now starting to get a little bit quicker. I'm starting to really feel very confident with the handgun, and the gun shoots great. Very minimal recoil. The trigger is crisp. It took me a little while to get used to that trigger in regards to just how good that reset is. It definitely took a little bit, but again, I feel very good shooting this handgun. So in the next clip, what you're seeing here is a little bit faster shooting. These are only headshots that I'm working on at this point. The range here, it's a little difficult to really get a good feel for the target because you have to aim it so low underneath a line. But overall, the headshots are coming quicker. They're a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more on target when I started off. So again, overall, the gun is just shooting great. And at this point, after that one bobble I had, the gun is just doing better and better. It's coming quicker and quicker. No issues with any ejection pattern or anything like that. And overall, I mean, the gun just works, and it's a solid handgun. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the shooting. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hope you guys have a great night. Stay safe. And as always, freedom is never free.